I want to try something a little different today for this deep dive.
Oh,
Yeah, I want to start right in the middle of a mess. And I don't mean the philosophical mess, but the actual physical mess of, say, 7 a.m.
the morning routine.
Right, the alarm goes off. It's that jarring electronic sound that somehow hits your nervous system before your eyes even open.
Truly the worst way to wake up.
It is. And then you reach out, you smack the phone, and before you've even taken a conscious breath, the thumb is already scrolling. You know, you're checking notifications, you're looking for, I don't know, a dopamine hit. A disaster.
Just something to jumpstart the engine, the modern liturgy, the morning loop.
Exactly, it's a loop. And lately, I've been kind of haunted by this very specific feeling. I'll get out of bed, I'll brush my teeth, I'll start the coffee, I'll stare at the back of my own hand while the water boils, and I realize I'm not actually there.
You're somewhere else.
Yeah, my body is in the kitchen, sure, but I am already in the 10 a.m. budget meeting where I'm replaying some, passive-aggressive text I got last night. I'm moving through my house like a ghost.
Like a ghost. It's interesting you use that exact word.
Why?
Because in the Buddhist psychology we're exploring today, that state, that ghostly automatic drifting is actually the definition of samsara.
Okay, hold on. I always thought, samsara was the big cosmic wheel, reincarnation.
Right, the cycle of birth and death.
Yeah, being born as a bug, then a cow, then a person. It feels very distinct from my coffee routine.
That's the metaphysical definition, sure. But if we strip away the cosmology and look at the psychological mechanism, samsara isn't just about what happens after you die.
What is it then?
It is the daily rebirth of the distracted mind. It's waking up and reliving the exact same patterns of thought you had yesterday. It's the cycle of unconscious repetition, driven by craving and aversion.
So it's reliving the same hour with your eyes half closed.
Precisely. You wash the dish, but you aren't feeling the warm water or the ceramic. You're driven by a craving for the task to be over or an aversion to the mess. You are essentially sleepwalking through your own existence.
That sounds incredibly bleak. But it also sounds, medically accurate.
How so?
I read somewhere recently, and this terrified me, that we spend nearly half of our waking hours thinking about something other than what we're currently doing.
Almost 50%.
Almost half our life is spent on autopilot, in a hallucination, just to, conserve energy.
It's an evolutionary adaptation, yes. The brain is an energy hog, so it tries to predict reality rather than experience it. It creates a simulation based on past habits, so it doesn't have to process every new photon of light.
So my brain is turning me into a zombie to save calories.
Essentially, yes. But the cost of that efficiency is that we become passengers. The scenery blurs.
That is exactly how it feels. I'm in the passenger seat, watching the scenery blur by, and my anxiety is driving the car. And my instinct, and I think the instinct for a lot of people listening, is to say, okay, stop the car. I need to get out.
You want to escape.
Right. I need to quit the job, move to a mountain, find silence until I feel real again.
That is the great romantic temptation, the idea that peace is geographical.
But if you just change the scenery, the mind will settle.
Exactly. But the wisdom we're looking at today offers a much more radical and frankly much more difficult proposition. It suggests that routine is not the enemy of awakening. Routine is the raw material.
Wait, meaning I don't have to move to a monastery?
No monastery required. The prison isn't the action you're taking. The prison is your lack of attention to it. In fact, if you go to a monastery, do you know what you spend most of your time doing?
I don't know, chanting,
Yeah.
sitting in silence.
Cleaning, chopping vegetables, sweeping. There's this classic metaphor of the monk sweeping the courtyard. To you or me, looking in from the outside, it looks like menial labor. It looks like a repetitive chore. We might even think, why is this holy person wasting time sweeping dust when they could be meditating?
Right, it seems inefficient. Like, get a leaf blower, get it done, go get enlightened.
But for the monk, he isn't sweeping to finish the courtyard, he is sweeping the mind. Each stroke of the broom is a stroke against delusion. He isn't trying to finish the job so he can go do the spiritual work. The sweeping is the spiritual work. He sweeps to be.
He sweeps to be. It's poetic. But I have to push back a little here.
Please do.
It's easy to be mindful when you're sweeping a silent courtyard in a misty mountain temple. But try maintaining that Zen calm when you're 45 minutes late for work, the toddler's screaming because his socks feel weird, and your boss is emailing you about a deadline.
The real world.
Yeah. Can we really apply the monk with a broom philosophy to the parent with a meltdown?
That is the ultimate test, isn't it? If this philosophy falls apart in a traffic jam, it's not much use to us. but this is where the concept of sati comes in. Yes, sati. It's usually translated as mindfulness or awareness. It's the mechanism that turns water into nectar. It changes the quality of the experience without changing the action itself.
So how does it help with the screaming toddler?
By bringing the driver back to the wheel, sati implies that we are constantly forgetting our life as we live it. We get lost in the simulation. Sati is the mental muscle of snapping back to the present.
Like snapping back.
You can't stop the chaos of the toddler or the email, but sati creates a micropause between the stimulus and your reaction. You notice the tightness in your chest, and in that split second of noticing, you have a choice.
So it's not about enjoying the screaming toddler, it's about not being hijacked by it.
Precisely. Awakening doesn't happen despite ordinary life, but through it. There's a beautiful example of a Zen nun in Kyoto performing a tea ceremony.
I'm picturing it. Very serene, very quiet.
Yes, but look at the mechanics of it. She wakes up before dawn. She doesn't rush to meditate on a cushion. She lights a candle. She draws water. She wipes the bowl.
She's just doing chores.
But she is entirely present with the sensory details. The sound of the boiling water, the curl of the steam, the warmth of the ceramic in her palms. This practice is called kayagatasati.
Kayagatasati.
It means mindfulness immersed in the body. The foundational texts say something so simple it sounds almost insulting. They say, when walking, know that you are walking.
Know that you are walking. That sounds like instructions for someone who just got a pair of legs.
In a way, we have forgotten our legs. We've become alienated from our own bodies. Think about your commute. You walk to the train or the car to get somewhere.
Right, the walk is an obstacle. It's dead time until I get to the destination.
Exactly. But what if the walk was the destination? Walk simply to walk. Feel the heels strike the pavement. Feel the swing of your arms. This is walking meditation without the formal label.
And does this actually change anything? Or is it just a nice thought?
It physically changes your brain. We know from neuroscience that the brain rewires based on repeated experience neuroplasticity. Every time you consciously feel your heels strike the ground, every mindful dish you wash, it is a micro-revolution in your brain's architecture.
A micro-revolution, I like that. But let's talk about work. Because I can sell mindful walking to myself. Walking is nice, but mindful spreadsheets, mindful HR meetings.
That drudgery.
Yeah, the actual drudgery of modern work. Can coding or data entry really be a field of spiritual practice?
Work is the primary field of practice. Let me tell you about Layman Ping.
Layman Ping.
He was a 9th century basket seller in China. Not a monk, a layman with a family dealing with customers, money, the marketplace, all the stress of the real world.
Okay, a relatable guy.
Very relatable, and yet he was considered one of the most awake masters of his time. He has this famous quote where he declares his miraculous powers.
Did he walk through walls?
He said, "My miraculous power, drawing water, my wondrous activity, chopping wood."
Just chores.
Just chores. The lesson is that the sacred isn't hidden behind the ordinary. It is the ordinary, seen clearly.
But how does that apply to the software developer? My miraculous power is debugging code.
Yes, the developer can code with anxiety, rushing to finish, hating the bugs, or they can code with intention behind every line. The parent can fold socks with resentment, or they can fold them as love made visible.
I have a question about that, actually.
Yeah.
Because when I think of being totally absorbed in work, I think of flow states, where you lose yourself in the code or the writing and 4 hours pass and you forget to eat. Is flow the same as mindfulness?
They are cousins, but there's a crucial difference. Flow is spontaneous, and it often excludes awareness of suffering or your surroundings. You can be in a flow state playing a video game for 10 hours.
Right, you lose yourself completely.
Mindfulness, on the other hand, is chosen. It doesn't exclude the difficulty. It embraces reality, the suffering, the boredom, the backache with tenderness. Both states dissolve the ego, but mindfulness is a conscious act of returning to the truth of the moment.
So in flow, I forget I'm tired. In mindfulness, I acknowledge I'm tired, but I don't let it ruin the work.
Exactly.
Okay, I buy the philosophy, but I'm burned out, and my mind is a chaotic mess. If I try to be mindful of everything starting tomorrow, I'm going to fail by 8 a.m. How do I actually turn the key? Give me the practical path.
The practical path is not to add more to your schedule. The key is to subtract distraction.
Subtract distraction.
How? Try the 60-second challenge. Tonight, when you are washing your face, don't think about tomorrow's emails. Feel the weight of the water. Notice the scent of the soap. Break the spell of the autopilot for just 1 minute.
Just 1 minute. That feels doable.
It is. To help with this, there are 3 specific anchors you can use to transform routine into ritual.
Okay, what's the first anchor?
The breath anchor. Use this before a transition. Leaving home, starting a Zoom meeting, opening your laptop. Take 3 conscious breaths.
Just 3.
Just 3. But it acts as a reset for the nervous system. It creates a boundary between what was and what is about to be.
Okay, the breath anchor, what's the second?
The sensation anchor. Pick one daily task, drinking your morning tea, opening a door, and do it with full sensory attention. Notice the texture, the temperature, the sound.
Like the nun in Kyoto.
Exactly like the nun. And the third is the intention anchor. This is a silent vow before an activity.
A vow. Like a promise.
Just a silent setting of the compass. Before you start folding the laundry, you might say internally, may this act serve awareness. It transforms a duty into a devotion.
May this act serve awareness. I like that. But here's my fear. I try this. I try to be mindful of the laundry, and 10 seconds later, my mind has wandered off to the weird noise the car is making, and then I feel like I failed.
That is the most common trap. But listen to me carefully. The mind wandering is not a failure.
It feels like one.
I know, but the practice isn't stopping your thoughts. The practice is the act of returning. The moment you realize your mind has wandered, you have woken up. That realization is the mindfulness.
So the wandering is part of it.
It's like guiding a wandering child back home. You don't scream at the child, you gently take their hand and bring them back.
Thinking. Okay, back to the socks.
Yeah.
Back to the breath.
That makes it feel much less intimidating.
There is a famous Tibetan saying, do not mistake the finger pointing at the moon for the moon itself.
The finger pointing at the moon.
We often think that meditation cushions, temples, and silence are the moon, that they are just the fingers pointing.
So what is the moon?
The moon is the steam rising from your coffee. It is the hum of your laptop. It is the feeling of your back against the chair right now. The boundary between meditation and life dissolves when you realize this.
So I don't need to become a Zen master.
No, you are not becoming awake. You are remembering that you already are. The capacity for presence is your factory setting. It's just covered in dust.
And sweeping the dust is the practice.
I have this image in my head now. Going back to that pile of laundry tonight. Usually I look at it and just feel the weight of the chore. But tonight, I want to imagine folding the laundry as if I'm, I don't know, folding the robes of a sleeping Buddha.
That is exactly it. You bring reverence to the ordinary.
Because the attention itself is what makes it holy.
You are the one who has been waiting. You don't need to escape your life to find peace. The peace is hidden inside the very routine you are trying to flee.
It's an incredible shift in perspective. To meet life right now, in the next breath.
In a very next breath.
You know, it makes you wonder if that deep, lingering ache we all feel, that desire to escape the routine, if that desire is just another thought we need to gently usher back home.
A beautiful realization. The dust never stops falling, my friend.
So the sweeping never ends.
No, it never ends.
To everyone listening, thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Try the 60-second challenge today. Wash a dish, feel the water, and remember where you are. We'll see you next time.